Hey, what is going on, guys? This is SMEV Reviews, and today we're taking a look at the newest studio album from Charlie Puth, Voicenotes. Let's get to it. Charlie Puth released 9-Track Mind in 2015, and man, that is a stinker of an album. Honestly, I do think that there are some fine tracks, but it's all fine or below. Marvin Gaye is one of the worst songs that I've heard, at least from that year, and just so many wrong steps. It was clearly meant to be a commercial success, and hey, it was, but critically, it was pretty panned. And along with the critics, I agree, I really don't like it. So then we got Attention back in early 2017. And a lot of people kind of changed their tone on Charlie Puth. Not to say that they went back and were suddenly professing 9-Track Mind is an amazing album. By the way, 9-Track Mind and doesn't have 9 tracks. That just annoyed me to no end. Continuing on though, honestly, Attention, a lot of people really, it got their attention. It had an excellent bass line that just drives a song. It's so funky and so fun. And hey, it was one of my favorite hit songs of the year last year. I placed it at 2. My list I look back at would have changed a lot, but even just at this point, at lowest, it would be as 3 because I love that song. Some songs have just grown on me. That's about it. But it's still such an excellent song. I really do think that. And then he came out with How Long, also an excellent single, and it just kept coming. And honestly, I listened to every single, and I liked just about every single. I think that there were some weaker moments, but overall the singles were really good, so I was stoked for Voicenotes. It was my most anticipated album of this year. I mean, a couple that haven't been announced, like I know Paul McCartney's talked about an album, that would be up there too. But of the albums that had been announced at the beginning of the year, this was at the top. I was so ecstatic because I was so hopeful, and then he delayed it to try to build on it and try to make it better, and hey, I respect that, especially because he's trying to make the music that he wants. It seems that he probably was forced to do a more pop sound, and hey, I'm taking that with a grain of salt because honestly, I believe that he just realized that it was a misstep. I don't necessarily think it was his label, but whatever, blame it on the label, doesn't matter. He claims that this is now what he really wanted to make. And honestly, it sounds excellent. I mean, it really works. He said he wanted to make some R&B, and it really is. It's R&B, soul, funk, all just blended up and given on an excellent pop platter. And I really, really do think this works. Honestly, Charlie Puth, not the best voice, and I think that on 9-Track Mind, he had some missteps. This album, he doesn't really. Honestly, his voice throughout the whole thing sounds excellent. Now, I know I'm a lot more positive on this album than a lot of critics. I've listened to a couple of critics because I wanted to know just what people were thinking about this album, whether they thought it was good or bad. And a lot of people are kind of lukewarm on it, 6 sevens maybe. And I personally disagree. Yes, there are a couple missteps. I think Boy is a not very good track. It sounds very flimsily produced, cheap. And honestly, Puth doesn't sound that good, and it's just a stupid song in general. I think that a lot of the lyrical content is kind of obnoxious. It's talking about a relationship with an older woman, and how he didn't really get, respected in that relationship because he was younger. Yeah, it's a throwaway track. I really didn't enjoy it. And Changes with James Taylor, honestly, I really do like the track, and in a cultural vacuum, it would have worked great. But at the time we're at, every single song, it seems, is about loving each other or disliking the current presidential administration. And while I'm not actually putting in my political views in this, I'm just saying it's a very common thing to do. And so this is a very bland way to do it. It's probably not my favorite way that it's been done. I think there are excellent ways to try to protest government or try to protest whatever they're wanting to, or just saying to love each other. This is just kind of a cheesier way of doing it that has already been done a million times. But hey, it sounds good, and him and James Taylor really have a lot of chemistry. Besides that, this album just works for me. Every single track is just good, good, good. I mean, Charlie Puth, a lot of people are saying that Puth doesn't have the most excellent vocals. Listen to this. There's hardly any actual true auto-tune. There is some, I will say, but there's not a lot. That, and he actually goes head-to-head with Boyz II Men and excellently produces a excellent a cappella track. Now, I know I'm just ranting and raving, and I'm not trying to, but honestly, this album is great. I know I just sound like a fanboy of Charlie Puth. As I said, until Attention, I thought Charlie Puth was another boring pop star that had really a total misguided debut, and I just did not like him. This album totally changed my tune on that. I think he actually has some really good interests here and a lot of good sounds, a lot of interesting sounds that aren't really in the mainstream that he's bringing more toward the forefront. Done For Me featuring Kalani really does work. It's another song that has both of them singing, and it's more like the significant other doesn't seem to be putting as much effort in. What have they done for you, the person singing the song, the narrator? And it's another excellent song. Both of their voices just mesh perfectly together. And so that's another point. You've really got to have some kind of charisma to sing these kinds of songs. That song in particular. There are some songs on this album that are a little more I'm at fault or You Hurt Me, Poor Pitiful Me, but a lot of these are You Hurt Me and I am moving on. I'm getting better. I'm getting revenge. I'm moving on from this situation. And you've got to have some charisma to sell that. And honestly, Charlie Puth does. In my opinion, he has that vocal charisma. Now, I'm not saying as a person, I don't know too much about him as a person, but as a vocalist, he has that charisma for me. It just works. It really does. He sells that I'm done with you kind of attitude. And it really is biting and really sarcastic and really fun. I just don't have too much negative to say. No, the lyrics aren't this incredibly deep thing, but it's a pop album, and for a pop album, it's still got pretty interesting lyrics. A lot of them are really good, maybe a one-off kind of dorky line, but hey, it still really works for me. And just the fact that there's so many different styles here being blended together and being mushed together to work so excellently with so many interesting instruments from piano to bass-centered songs, just to any guitar, it really does work. There's some songs that sound very inspired by Michael Jackson, and I hear a lot of those influences here. It just works. It all comes together, and while a lot of people may be lukewarm on this, I am definitely really enjoying this album. I think that it deserves a lot more praise, and no, it's not perfect. Despite my constant praise, there's a lot more that could have been done. And as I said, there's two tracks, especially two tracks that are kind of meh, but there's a lot of tracks here that are just excellent. Attention and How Long are excellent examples of those bass-centered songs. And apologies for reading off my phone, but there's so many tracks that I want to make sure I name each one. The Way I Am, Done For Me, obviously, featuring Kalani. If You Leave Me Now, the one featuring Boyz II Men. Slow It Down is excellent. Somebody Told Me. Through It All excellent tracks. And Puth sounds excellent on them. There are some tracks that are just meh, but that's like 3. And then there's one that's bad and one that's just not great. And yeah, the rest are good. I honestly do really enjoy this, and I don't honestly see why a lot of critics are panning this, because I'm really enjoying it. And again, not just from a fanboy perspective, as I was not at all. Attention was the first song that I actually enjoyed from him. I'm just really enjoying this album. Overall, it's a pretty solid effort. I mean, it's not perfect, and I think with a third album, Puth could really nail this. And hey, all of these songs are written and produced by him, maybe along with another person, but that's pretty impressive for a pop artist these days. I gotta give him props for it. Honestly, there are some missteps. Boy is a terrible track. I'm not gonna deny it. It's cheesy, dumb, and I hate it. But the rest, I do at least see some genuinely redeeming factors for them. They may not be my favorite, but I see redeeming factors, and they're at least good. I really do enjoy this album. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Man, this album is just so much fun, but what did you guys think of this album? Please let me know. Also, why was the album cover that terrible photo of him? I hate the album cover. It obviously doesn't affect my rating, that's why I mentioned it after. I think that probably the old album cover was better, but man, this one is just terrible. He looks so awkward in it. Whatever, his mistake, but hey, it's still an excellent album and so much fun, and I really do enjoy it. But what did you guys think? I know I'm much warmer on it than other people are, so please let me know. Also, is there any upcoming albums that you'd like me to review? I am going to get very busy pretty quick soon, so it'll probably be a little slower output for me. hopefully at least one a week, but the next 2 weeks are going to be a little rocky. Besides that, honestly, just let me know anything you'd like that's coming out soon. Also, I have a really hard time going back to albums because there's just so many albums coming out. So it's hard for me to do back albums. If it's any album upcoming, yeah, definitely I will put that on the list. Any past ones, it's harder for me to do. I just have to clarify that because sometimes I get recommendations to review something from a month ago and I just hate to go back. Sometimes I will, but usually that's if I had a down week, not just, but when there's a week where 7 albums I'd like to review came out, I'm obviously only going to get to 1 or 2, maybe 3 on a crazy week. So, yeah, that I'm just giving that little message there. But thank you guys so much for watching this. It really does mean a lot. You guys have been so supportive, and I'm really super excited about this channel and everything upcoming in it. I love this channel, and I thank you guys so much for watching. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Besides that, I'll see you guys later.